Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Yaritza, and in today's video we are going to be talking about Netflix Pieces of a Woman. So before I begin, I just want to say that this subject might be triggering to those who have suffered a miscarriage or have suffered a loss of a child. So quick recap of what we know from the trailer. The movie is about a woman who has a home birth, and soon after the baby is born, it suddenly passes away. Now, that is not a spoiler alert. That is literally what you get from the trailer. But moving forward, there will be some spoiler alerts. So if you haven't seen the movie and you don't want it to be spoiled, please go watch it and then come back to this video afterwards. And if you don't care or you don't plan to watch it but want to see this video, then continue watching. I will say that I was really nervous to watch this movie because of my recent miscarriage. If you didn't know, I had a miscarriage back in December, and so not that long ago, and it has been a difficult time for me to navigate, but I did share my story recently and you guys can find it here. I'll link it somewhere here for you guys if you want to see it. So basically, I was nervous to watch the movie because I've heard from other women who said that the movie was really difficult to watch, and I heard from someone else who got onto Netflix and they started, it was like they're getting ready at night to just relax and they turned on their Netflix and the trailer just started playing and they were really triggered because they were not expecting to see that, and we're really upset that Netflix didn't put a trigger warning. So side note, I just want to say, if you have any triggering subject matters, Netflix does have an option for you to turn off trailer autoplay, if that's what it's called. So you can go to your profile settings and just stop the autoplay of trailers. If that's something that you're interested in, you might want to check that out. So I remember when I was in the thick of my miscarriage, my husband Drew told me there's this new movie coming out. It's called Pieces of a Woman, and I want to show you the trailer, but I'm not sure how you're gonna feel about it. It's about a woman who loses her child, and it's not that I'm a sucker for self-punishment or that anything like that. I love good movies. If you don't know, my background is in acting, and so I love movies and art that are kind of therapeutic. Sharing my story is very therapeutic. I wrote a scene for one of my acting classes about my miscarriage already, so acting and good movies that reflect life are very therapeutic to me. So I was like, fine, like, show me the trailer. So I saw the trailer. It was very difficult to watch, but I knew that when the movie came out and when I was ready to watch it, that I was going to watch it and that we were going to watch it together. So we did recently, and we watched it just a couple of days ago. I wanted a second or a couple of days to just process how I felt about the movie before I spoke about it. And it's not gonna be a review about the movie specifically. I think the movie is great. The actors were amazing, and I loved the story that was being told. This is more about watching it as someone who has experienced something similar. So if you have experienced a miscarriage or the loss of a child, I guess this video is for you. So I do agree that the movie was difficult to watch, but basically I think the most difficult scene for me to watch was the actual loss of the child. Even though I knew that that was coming because I know that that's what the movie is about, when that scene actually played out, it was very difficult emotionally to deal with it. I was crying. I was holding my husband's hand. We were kind of like silent throughout the whole thing because it was really difficult to take in. The actress was amazing. Like, the actors are amazing. So the scene being played out was very dramatic and it stirred up some feelings, obviously. But as far as like the rest of the movie, they just go into what life is after that moment. Like, how do you deal with the grief, with the family, with your partner? Especially with grief, there is this stigma in society where people really don't know how to deal with grief. I think people expect you to move on rather quickly and don't really give you the time and space to grieve the way that you need to grieve. And what that looks like is different for every single person. So Martha, which is the name of the character in the movie, kind of seems numb in a way afterwards. She's just trying to deal with the new reality. The moment that you have a miscarriage or that you lose a child, it's kind of, you are a different person. From that moment on, you are no longer the person that you were before. Regardless of, you know, like every moment, like every traumatic moment or good moment changes you, right? If the baby wouldn't have died, she would have moved on with her new reality of being a mother, but that's what she was expecting and that's what she wanted. What she was not expecting was losing her child. You're never expecting to have a miscarriage. So me, myself, going through it, it has changed me. The way that I look at things differently. I understand why there are certain things that people shouldn't say to a woman, like when are you gonna have children, because you really don't understand. It's way deeper than just like, well, I'm just waiting, or I don't want to have children. Now it's like, well, maybe I just had a miscarriage and you don't know, and it's a very inappropriate question. Maybe I have been trying to get pregnant for the past year and I haven't been able to. So things like that, even though these topics shouldn't be taboo, if more people talked about it, then maybe less people would be asking questions. If people knew how common it is to have a miscarriage, how common it is to struggle with fertility, then maybe people wouldn't be asking these questions to a couple as soon as they get married, or to a woman as soon as she hits 30. The other side of losing a child and having a miscarriage is dealing with everybody else's opinions. People want to know what happened, why did it happen, whose fault was it? In the movie, Martha's mother is really adamant about suing the midwife, because for her to grieve, she needs to have somebody to blame. Somebody is responsible for this child dying, and she wants to put the blame on the midwife. And the daughter, who is the one who lost the child, is not ready to and doesn't want to sue the midwife. She doesn't want to confront the midwife, and the mother is pushing her. And there's something that she said in the movie that it was like a dagger to the heart. She said, if you would have done what I had told you to do, maybe you would be holding your child right now. I was shocked, because I know that people think that way. I know that mothers think that way. Like, mothers have this authority of like, do what I tell you to do because I always know best. And the mother, coming from a different generation, obviously she wanted her to give birth at a hospital. The daughter wanted to give birth at home, and that's where the conflict arises. But what if she had given birth at a hospital and still lost the child? Would the mom be reacting this way? Who knows? Would the daughter be like, see, I told you I wanted to give birth at home, maybe this wouldn't have happened? When grief happens, people always look for someone to blame. And the thing is, for example, like my miscarriage, where there are no answers, because a lot of the times is like chromosomal abnormalities and the doctors don't have an answer. There's another scene where they go to speak to the doctor, and because they're doing the autopsy, and Shia LaBeouf's character is asking for answers. He wants answers, and the doctor is saying, we don't have any answers, and he gets really upset that he has to walk out of the office. And I felt like in this movie, everyone around the woman is dealing with the grief in their own way without regarding the woman who actually lost the child. Yes, everyone lost something, right? The father lost his child, the grandmother lost her grandchild, but the mother who carried that child inside her belly, who went through the actual process and painful process of giving birth, lost her child. And I feel like her opinion in this movie is the one that counts the less for some reason, and it really does feel like that happens in real life. People always trying to tell you how to grieve, what to do, how to move on. You should have moved on by now. You should be moving on. You shouldn't cry. God has a plan. Everything happens for a reason. Blah, 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 blah. All these things that people always say. And sometimes you don't want an answer, or you don't need an answer. Sometimes you just want to cry. Sometimes you just want to cry. You just want to be alone. You just want the time to process. You just want to move at your own pace. And when those around you, who are the people that are supposed to love you the most, are not allowing you to grieve the way you want to grieve, that can be difficult. In one of the scenes when she's arguing with her mom, the sister goes by and she's like, "You need therapy." Just yells it out. It's like, sure, she probably does need therapy. But do you think that you yelling at her, "You need therapy," is going to help the situation? I don't think so. How about just sit down and listen to her if she wants to talk? How about just sit down together and be silent if that's what the person needs, instead of yelling, "You need therapy"? There's definitely a lot of things in this movie that were shocking, but I think that the most difficult part to watch was at the beginning. The movie is a little over 2 hours, and the home birth to the baby loss is about like 30 minutes. The rest of the movie is them dealing with it. I think one of the biggest themes in this movie is isolation. You really see Vanessa Kirby's character really just feeling isolated because nobody is really listening to what she wants to do when it comes to her process of grieving the baby. She wants to donate the body for research. Other people think that that is disrespectful. They spell the name wrong on the tombstone, and nobody's listening to her on how she wants to spell her child's name, which is spot on, because isolation is the #1 thing that I felt really alone when I was going through my miscarriage. And from everyone else's story that I have read, heard, or seen, or people that shared their story with me when I shared mine, was that they felt alone. It's a common theme between women who have gone through miscarriage or lost a child, that they feel alone because these topics are not talked about often enough. So you don't know who to turn to, and people don't know how to support you. So that's one of the reasons why I think this movie is important to watch, if it's just to see how devastating this process of losing a child is. Now, I just had a miscarriage and I know what that feels like, and I'm still grieving it. If this is a pain that you are familiar with, I am so sorry, and my heart goes out to you. Anyway, I hope that this video made sense. I just wanted to make this video because I want to keep the conversation going and keep talking about this topic, because I feel like it's super, super important, and it's something that I learned from sharing my own story, from all the messages that I received from you guys telling me your own story and telling me that you never shared it publicly, or that you shared it to anybody who would listen. So I really, really appreciate all the love and support that I have been receiving, and I hope that that love and support is shared amongst the community of women who need the support the most. Let me know in the comments if you watched the movie, what are your thoughts about it? And if you didn't watch the movie and you're not going to watch it, tell me in the comments why not. And let me know if you guys are enjoying me speaking up on these topics, these taboo topics that people are not talking about as much. I am not an expert. I am speaking from my personal experience and trying to just open the floor to conversation, really. So please like this video if you enjoyed it. It will really support me in my YouTube journey, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos. I love you guys so much. Stay safe, and I will see you in another video.